came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you so much, Alex. Remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Our ambassadors for this year's festival, River Region Credit Union Little Mr. and Miss Independence from 2017, Benjamin Ropey, who is the son of Lindsay and Chris Ropey, and Grace Pantaleo, daughter of Stephanie and Jared Pantaleo.
Of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One more thank you to Benjamin and Grace. And you may be seated. High fives and low fives as they exit the stage. Fantastic. Thank you also to our honor guard tonight. How many of you were over at the parade? Many of you? Good deal. You may have seen a guy who went down the parade, and you're not going to believe this, but he's 312 years old. Pretty amazing. The guy's name is Ben. He reminds me his last name is Franklin. An original patriot, Ben Franklin is brought to life with his wit, his charm, and intact by award-winning actor and playwright. Welcome, director Alan J. Pruitt, Ben Franklin.
Oh my God, I thought he was a priest.
Wit and charm. Excuse me. Wit and charm intact. That's a lot to live up to at 312. I wasn't a very good public speaker, still am not. I tended to like to write things down. I wrote a few things, and I thought I might share a few things that were important tonight. I'm pleased to be here in this city named after my friend Thomas. Well, of course, at my age, I'm pleased to be anywhere at all. But I thought about how more important than saying to when in the course of human events, yada, 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 we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Those are things you should know, and if you don't, you should read them. I wanted to talk about and to honor the organizers of this event for making the theme of the parade this evening celebrating diversity. At no time in our nation's history is this more important, and as I was in the parade and I saw all of the diverse faces, nationality, skin colors, and no doubt religions, I was very proud. Proud to be someone who helped to form a nation that welcomed all of these people. By the way, something to remember, there's a few things I want you to consider. We are all immigrants, or descendants of immigrants. Unless you happen to be one of our native brothers or sisters, you all came, and your descendants came to this country. Uninvited, I might add. We did make up a fancy name that allowed us to pretend as though there was some sort of divine right. It was called Manifest Destiny. But the truth is, we are all immigrants. I wanted to remind you, and for you to consider also, that just because you feel something or you believe something does not make it right and does not make it true. This is where being a human and humanity takes place. I think it's important for you to remember that there are several stages of that humanity. One is simple tolerance, being tolerant of people who have different skin colors, different religions, different beliefs, different status in life. The second is civility. You don't have to believe what they believe, but you need to be civil. The third is acceptance. That's the goal, is that you accept that there are people, and there will always be people who are different. All men are created equal, but we're all different. Part of the issue we have in schools is because it's taught to children that some of them are better than others. That's where bullying comes in. And if any of you think that you're more elite than someone else, then that is the very definition of being un-American. So I know that's not very witty or charming, but it is important as we celebrate our independence and we give thanks for the freedoms that we have in this country. One last thing I want to remind you of is that Congress and the legislature, they are not our leaders. They are our representatives, not our leaders. And they represent us, not big business, not large corporations, not people who will line their pockets with money. This changed a few years ago, and this is part of our issue right now. So those are just some things on this 4th of July for you to consider. But most importantly, thank you, organizers of this event, for celebrating diversity and helping us come together again as a nation, understanding one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not just for those who believe what you believe, who look like you do. Liberty and justice for all. Excuse me, I'm an old person, and you know how people go on, and you know, grandparents tell you those, and so I think I've spent my time with you. I want to thank you for your attention, and as the young people would say nowadays, I'm history.
Thank you, Ben. If we could all look so good when we're 312, huh? We have a special keynote speaker tonight with us. He is from right here in mid-Missouri. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Major General Hank Stratman, U.S. Army retired. General Stratman served 33 years in the U.S. Army from 1973 to 2006 and participated in numerous combat and peacekeeping operations in the Middle East and Europe throughout his career. General Stratman's last assignment in the military was Chief of Staff for Political, Military, and Economic Integration Strategies, Multinational Forces in Baghdad. In this position, he was involved in the U.S. Embassy and the interagency policy development and synchronization with DoD military operations. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hank Stratman.
First off, thanks, Rod, for that kind introduction. Wow, Ben Franklin, what a hard act to follow. But coincidentally, his performance lays the groundwork for my remarks on our Founding Fathers' gift to the United States of America and the world in general, our fabulous U.S. Constitution. And I'll speak more to that later. But first, like Ben, I want to thank the Salute to America Committee for the opportunity to speak at this opening ceremony. And on behalf of all veterans and currently serving service members of the armed forces, I want to thank all the sponsors. There are too many to announce individually, for their generosity and, most important, their patriotism and love for America. We salute you. My Salute to America celebration began Saturday with the Big and Rich concert inside the walls of the Missouri State Penitentiary, now closed, obviously. What a unique place for events. And in case you haven't noticed, Capitol Avenue is looking really good day and night. Well done, Jeff City, in beginning to fix this long neglected part of town. Monday, I celebrated with our wounded warriors and veterans at Turkey Creek Golf Center, supporting the Heroes Outing for disabled veterans with special needs golfing and fishing activities. That's where I got this extremely patriotic t-shirt I'm wearing. I know you're all jealous. This event raised enough funds to purchase 3 special needs golf carts for use year-round by all disabled persons at no charge. A big thank you to the many organizations who donated to this special cause also. God knows who you are, and God bless you. Today, the parade, this opening ceremony, and the many entertainment activities downtown continue the Independence Day Salute to America celebration, which culminates tomorrow night with an awesome fireworks display. I think probably the best in the central USA. What a great way to show pride in being an American. Let's all strive to show this type of enthusiastic pride in the United States of America every day, not just on Independence Day. We Americans have a lot of reasons to celebrate. We are the longest surviving republic, commonly referred to as democratic form of government in the history of the world. Thanks to Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, our namesake, and all the founding fathers who wrote the Declaration of Independence, and then, led by General George Washington, our first president, fought and won the Revolutionary War against the then world power, Great Britain. They then crafted a near-perfect constitution, the first of its kind, which established federal and state authorities, law and order, and checks and balances within the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government, and ultimately the Bill of Rights, addressing 10 individual rights such as freedom of speech and freedom of religion. Memorable sound bites from this era include, "We the people," "No taxation without representation," "Give me liberty or give me death," "United we stand, divided we fall." And my favorite, the God-given inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Sentiments still relevant today, 242 years later, but often attacked and undermined. 87 years after the Revolutionary War of Independence, this near-perfect republic's constitution would be challenged with a bloody civil war between the northern and southern states. A war fought primarily to preserve the Union of the United States and to abolish slavery. President Lincoln's most famous speech, his memorial address at Gettysburg, following the defeat of the Confederate Army, is worth reflecting upon because today, storm clouds are once again brewing over state and federal powers and responsibilities, and some politicians are even flippantly considering a second civil war as a way to rewrite our founding fathers' Constitution, as they try to realign our free market economic system and rule of law structures with the sole intent of gaining power. Ladies and gentlemen, let's reflect on President Lincoln's Gettysburg Address as we ponder today's realities. I won't say it all, but I'll paraphrase some of it. He started off 161 words. Mine is 1,261 words. I don't know why I'm so wordy. He says, 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war to dedicate a final resting place for those who gave their lives that the nation might live. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot commemorate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated far above our poor powers to add or detract. Abraham Lincoln. I'm going to skip ahead to Lincoln's closing statement and paraphrase his final message that's applicable. That from these honored dead we take increased devotion that these men have not died in vain. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. I wish I could hold your attention long enough to highlight the heroic exploits of all our major wars, fought not to conquer nations and resources, but to liberate people from tyrannical and oppressive dictatorships, and to provide them the opportunity to establish forms of governments like ours, by the people and for the people, that we enjoy. Commonly, we refer to this as freedom and liberty. World Wars I, World War II in Europe, Korea, Vietnam and Asia, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, Iraq and the Mideast, and the ongoing global war on terrorism. Time doesn't permit for their discussion, but I do want to recommend you take your children to visit the Missouri Military History Museum located in the Ike Skelton Missouri National Guard Center off of Militia Drive. A great educational and family experience. You won't be disappointed. Remember, those who fail to learn from the lessons of history are doomed to repeat their failures. America's awesome armed forces are another reason to celebrate. They are clearly the best military in the world, always on guard and always prepared to fight and win our nation's wars. They, better than any politician, know that freedom is not free, and that there are no noble wars, just noble warriors and noble family members who stand by their service members during the good and the bad times. My wife can attest to the fact that being an Army spouse was the hardest job in the Army. And even now in my retirement, it hasn't gotten much easier. That's a joke. You're supposed to laugh at that. All right, back to reasons to celebrate. In addition to our awesome Constitution and armed forces, America's sensational landscape, her economic potential, state-of-the-art technology and medical advances, and our magnificent farms and food production capacity. Missouri, by the way, leading economic sector, the farming sector, are also great reasons to celebrate the land of the free and the home of the brave. I tried to include our professional sporting industry into the list, but just couldn't go there. Think you know why. But to me, the most significant reason is to celebrate our diverse, multicultural American heritage centers more around family. It's family wherein we share food, fellowship, drink, sometimes too much drink and carbs, and thank God for the many blessings He has bestowed on the United States of America. Let's not to forget to pass on to our children our freedom-based history and how this great nation for over 242 years overcame every political, economic, and military challenge, every attack on our American values and way of life, while simultaneously providing the preeminent beacon of hope for oppressed people worldwide. I'm proud to profess that America, however imperfect, is the best place in the world to live, work, and raise a family, and to be all you can be. And now to enable your celebrations to continue, I'm going to close my remarks with lyrics from my favorite country song, Lee Greenwood. No, I'm not going to sing, but I want to read them to you. I think you will recognize the words, but they're very meaningful to me. It goes like this. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men and women who died and gave that right to me. I'll stand up next to her, defend her still today. There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Thank you.
Thank you, General Stratman. A great message, and thank you, General Stratman, for your service to our country. We are proud to be an American. Amen?
Amen.
And you know, for many of us who live in this capital city, I'm with you. I'm proud to be a Jefferson Cityan too. We have a mayor who's going to join us up on stage, and I think she's very proud to serve in this role and proud of this city. Won't you welcome the mayor of Jefferson City, Carrie Turgeon.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of Jefferson City and the Salute to America Foundation Chair. I'm especially proud to be part of this celebration, but specifically the opening ceremony where we have the esteemed opportunity to honor those brave men and women who have fought and who are still fighting for our country. That's why it gives me great honor to introduce Mr. Don Henches. Henches served with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam, where he was near mortally wounded while on recon patrol near Hue. Henches was medevaced to a hospital ship and then to Japan and finally reunited with his family Christmas Eve of 1968. Henches received the Purple Heart, Combat Infantry Badge, National Defense Service Medal, and Vietnam Service Medal. Henches has served as Commander and Quartermaster of VFW Post 35 in St. Martin's, is a member of VFW Post 1003, and now serves as President of Jefferson City Veterans Council. Please give a warm welcome to Council President Mr. Don Henches. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, my fellow veterans and your families. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you. As President of the Jefferson City Veterans Council, I want to welcome each one of you to the capital city of Missouri. As we celebrate our Independence Day, it's only fitting that we honor the men and women who have proudly worn a uniform in defense of our country. In order to receive the recognition you so deserve, would all members of our military service, past and present, who are here with us tonight, please stand or wave your hands so that we can recognize you. Please give a round of applause to these people. Thank you. We also need to thank the family members who supported us while we were deployed So please give all the family members of our service people a round of applause also. The Jefferson City Veterans Council is a group comprised of all the service organizations and their auxiliaries in the Jefferson City area. We work hard on behalf of the community to organize events and memorials for our veterans, bringing in such tributes as the Vietnam Memorial Moving Wall and designing and funding the Veterans Plaza located in the courtyard in front of the police station. In fact, if you haven't had a chance to see this spectacular memorial, we encourage you to do so while you're enjoying these Independence Day activities. We are currently working with the City of Jefferson to enhance and expand this memorial. Please stay tuned for more on this in coming months. I am here today to provide a call for laying of the wreath ceremony. This is a traditional ceremony to honor and memorialize the military men and women who have given their time and lives to protect the principles upon which our Constitution is based. One by one, I will call a representative from each of the military branches who will come forward and place a cluster of flowers on the wreath. As they do this, and we pay reverence to those who came before and those who will come after, Amazing Grace will be played by Marie and David Gillum. Representing the United States Army, Command Sergeant Julie Van Steenberg. Representing the United States Marines, Sergeant Matt Jorgensen. Representing the United States Navy, Radioman Phil Califf. Representing the United States Air Force, Staff Sergeant Tracy Johnson. Our Coast Guard representative is not here, so Sergeant Matt Jorgensen would represent the Coast Guard. Join me for a moment of silent prayer for all those currently in harm's way and all those who didn't make it home while the song finishes. Thank you, Marie and David. Thank you all.
Thank you so much to Don Henches for all that you do for us, our community, and thank you for those who have served. Now it's my honor to introduce to you our festival chair for Salute to America 2018 here in the capital city. It is a big job. Angela Nail with Central Bank is leading the way Angela was on our news at KRCG 13 at 5 o'clock today. We were out here without anybody. It was just her and I and a few people setting up the stage, but I heard from the station that our ratings went sky high when Angela was on the air. So won't you welcome Angela Nail?
I did not pay him to say that, but I appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. Oh, come on, one more time. Good evening, everyone. Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming out tonight, and I hope you'll stick around for Zoso, which is our Led Zeppelin tribute band, and Interstellar Overdrive, which is a Pink Floyd tribute band. I know everyone's very excited about that. We'll come back tomorrow for a full day of celebration, capped off with Dr. Chevegas, brought to you by the Riley Auto Group and Midwest Block and Brick. And you sure don't want to miss the spectacular Sky Concert Red, White, and Boom fireworks display, brought to you by our friends at Missouri Credit Union. And Rod told you this is the best seats right here, best seats in the house for the fireworks, guys. So when you come back tomorrow to watch fireworks, this is where you want to be. This two-day event takes a lot of hard work by our dedicated volunteers and the generous contribution of our major sponsors: the Missouri Lottery, Central Bank, Hawthorne Bank, Scholastic, Mawkins Capital City, Jefferson City Parks, Champ's Chicken, I had some for dinner, it was really good, Cumulus, KMIZ Networks of Mid-Missouri, the News Tribune, and many, many more. I'd also like to once again thank the sponsor of tonight's opening ceremony and a major sponsor of the 4th of July celebration. The Knott family have been a part of this celebration for many, many years now. And I'd like all of you to join me in giving this community-minded businesses and all of our sponsors a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. Keep up the good work. She's got a lot of enthusiasm and a lot to go through tomorrow night. This is a great celebration here in the capital city. Well, as we bring this service to a close, we would like to end with traditional ceremonial firing and taps. I would ask, if you will, to please stand with me, remove your hats, as VFW Post 1003 presents the ceremonial firing. Remain standing through taps.
Halt! Right! Hey! Ready! Aim! Back! Aim! Aim! Back! Freeze it! Turn!
Thank you again to our VFW Post 1003. On behalf of all of our participants in tonight's Not Not Agency opening ceremony, I'd like to once again thank you for coming. May God bless the USA, may God bless America, may God bless Jefferson City, and God bless you. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful 4th. Enjoy your holiday with family and friends. God bless and good night.